been a while, but I told you Neko would return. When we last left off in the World Ends With You, we'd won our third game and proven that Shibuya has a right to exist. There's a bit more content left to explore in Twilly, so let's jump right into a new day. Crap. So in order to unlock the sequel bait, I need to take a trip back in time and beat these distorted Reapers on day 7 of each game. Thankfully, I've already beaten the challenges in week 1 and 2. So I pop in to beat day 7, get lost on my way to Utagawa, and get reacquainted with the controls. After erasing some distorted noise, I can finally hop into the next installment of The World Ends With You every day. I wake up, once again, in Shibuya Scramble. After checking my pockets and shaking off that weird vision, I discover I'm not alone. Pete's here too. Before we can truly get our bearings, we get a mission mail. Welcome to the Reaper's Game, Expert Mode. The mail says we have 24 hours to escape Shibuya, and to keep the confusion coming, we're introduced to everyone's favorite Reaper, Koko Atarashi. This bundle of pastels and 2017 slang introduces herself like we already know her, and even she is surprised the game is on again, saying no one told her a thing. She decides to tag along with us on our search for the exit, and me and Beat form a pact once again to fight the noise. It becomes quickly apparent that things are wrong, as the path that should lead to 10-4 takes us to Shibuya, which is actually behind 10-4. Even Beat noticed, and Koko makes fun of us for not knowing the city we literally spent 3 weeks running around in. Beat calls attention to this, and remembers that trying to escape the game was grounds for disquantification, so the mission makes no sense. As we move on, he even suggests blowing off the mission, but Koko reminds us that since we can use our pins, this definitely isn't RG. While exploring, I have another one of those visions, this time of a girl holding what appeared to be Mr. Mew. I relate it to the crew, as if Shiki doesn't have Mr. Mew, she must be in danger. Thankfully, we run into her and Rhyme just around the corner, but they seem off. For starters, Shiki looks exactly just like her friend Eri instead of her regular self, and it seems she forgot why she looked like this in the first place. And Rhyme seems a bit standoffish and not so sisterly towards Beat. To top it off, Beat asks her if she at least has her dream back, and she replies as if she just wants to get rich. Ignoring the obvious weirdness afoot, the girls have formed a pact, and head off on their own to find a way out of Shibuya. You could have helped us, you know. We make our way to Utagawa, where we run into Uzuki and Karia. But it seems like their personalities have flipped. Pinky seems laid back now, while Lollipop seems driven and focused. After hitting them with a literal tsunami, we interrogate the two as to who the conductor this time around is, and it seems even the Reapers are being kept in the dark. After a bit of discussion, I come to the conclusion that there's only one person who would know what's going on: Joshua. After traveling through this weird mixed-up version of Shibuya, we run into what appears to be the Pris Kid himself in the station underpass. He introduces himself as Yoshiya Kiryu, and like Hip Divots and Skulls Jr. before, his whole personality's out of whack. Rather than the cool, aloof composer he once was, he's now more sniveling scaredy cat. Beat says if it looks like a twink and sounds like a twink, then it's definitely Joshua, and he runs off before answering his questions. We chase him through the trail of the center to the Rubicon, where, once cornered, he offers us a potential answer for our questions. Mr. H. Yoshia calls Hanakoma, and for once in the past hour of gameplay, somebody besides Beat acknowledges that something is off. Beat eagerly questions Hanakoma, saying that he has to know what's going on, and thankfully, this cat has some clues. He tells us to swing by the cafe to lay out the facts, and that he'll call me later with directions on how to make it there. Well, that's not ominous. After stopping to grind up my shiny new green dragon pin, we come across my favorite Reaper in the game. Like a bolt from the blue, it's time for Revenge of the Reaper review. He quizzes us on some basic knowledge this time around, but though we may forget the review, rest assured, it remembers you. Speaking of being remembered, we get a call from Mr. H at Toa Records, telling us we're on the right track to Cat Street. Again, Beat is hungry for some answers, and this time we ask if Hanakoma knows who the GM is. Even he seems puzzled, and if the coffee man is confused, then it's definitely above our pay grade. We also ask what's going on with Joshua, and he says that if that's the kid he knows, he doesn't know a thing. But if it's the Joshua we know, he wouldn't say anything anyway, so best not to worry about it. We run into Shiki and Rhyme at 10-4, and I think Beat is starting to realize that this may not be the real Rhyme. Unfortunately, we take too long to defeat the Noise Sharks, and not only is Rhyme shark bait, Shiki's been taken by the Angels. Coco starts to antagonize us, but thankfully we ignore her and focus on making it to Cat Street. It's at this point I take a slight detour to obtain probably the most busted item in the game. It's so busted, in fact, we have to go completely out of our way and fight through 3 super gruesome distorted noise fights to obtain it. One at the Trail of the Bygone, one at the Trail of the Judged, and our final fight in the Room of Reckoning. After our fight in the Room of Reckoning, the Reaper in there deems us worthy of the best item in the game, the Gourmet Rice Ball. I immediately eat it and then make my way to Wildcat. Mr. H is there, looking like his usual self, and we introduce him to our resident pixie chick, Coco. Nonplussed, he turns to us and gives us the lowdown. The Shibuya we've been kicking around in for the past 2.5 hours has actually been a noise this whole time. Coco says it must have been created by a pretty strong Reaper to recreate all Shibuya, and Hanakoma, like the detective he is, pieces it all together in one moment. The Reaper that created the Shibuya noise is none other than Koko Atarashi. With her plans dashed, she finally unveils nothing. Yeah, you heard me. Her motivations are kind of up in the air at the moment, only implying that me and Beat were needed for something. She sicks her giant Shibuya noise on us, and we make quick work of it, finally sending us back to the RG. Us including Coco, that is. I get a call from Shiki, who had a premonition of bad things happening when one of Mr. Mew's seams ripped. Since the stuffed pig is in need of some work, she invites me out on a shopping date, which I happily accept. Beat decides to make a call too, to his sister, who also invites him to go out shopping. Before we can ride off into the Tokyo sunset, Coco pulls out the last trick up her sleeve.